The referees did all they freaking could to get this game in the favor. But right here, I mean, the Indiana Fever won this game, and the Sparks had 22 turnovers. It took 22 turnovers. If Kelsey Plum hadn't screwed the pooch and that ball rolled out, I don't know how this game turns out.
The WNBA just suspended referees after shocking claims of sabotage against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. But here's the twist. Fans aren't calling this a mistake. They're calling it a conspiracy. Was the league's brightest star really being deliberately targeted? Or was it all just officiating incompetence? Today, we're breaking down the frozen clock, the phantom timeout, and the bizarre call with 0.1 seconds left that set the internet on fire. If this wasn't random, then the whole league could be compromised, and the truth is bigger than one bad whistle.
Bruises and all, hit a massive three. Pass out, boom, knocked it down. That was a massive, massive clutch shot. They needed that. Leah Boston, 11 of 18. She had a double-double. Angel Reese, looking at you, double-double and a victory. Yeah, see how that actually works. 22 and 11. At times, it sounded like a home game. At times, it was louder than frankly, louder than the last home game in Indiana. LA really showed up.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. What if the problem wasn't the players at all, but the people holding the whistles? That's the thought that started buzzing louder and louder among Fever fans after a string of games that made no sense. Every time the Fever built momentum, something strange cut it off. It wasn't the usual stuff like missed shots or turnovers. It was the game itself breaking down in real time, almost like somebody was pulling a plug on their rhythm. Imagine this. The Fever are locked in a clutch situation, clock ticking down, crowd on their feet. Suddenly, the scoreboard clock just freezes. It doesn't stop at a timeout. It doesn't stop for a foul. It just halts. And in the process, the Fever lose a chance to capitalize. Then there's a timeout that appears out of thin air, one that the other team didn't even seem to request before the officials blew the whistle. And the final straw? A last-second ruling that gave extra time on the clock when there couldn't possibly have been that much left. Each of these on their own is annoying, maybe even brushed off as human error. But stacked together, game after game, they started painting a much darker picture. Fans weren't just upset, they were almost certain something shady was happening.
Lexi and Natasha Howard tonight combined for 3 for 15 from the field. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, Kelsey, 5 of 14, 35%, 12 points. 23 points for the Fever off those turnovers. Wow. I mean, unbelievable. Odyssey Sims tonight had some real clutch shots. Lexi hit a clutch. Odyssey Sims, 10 of 20 in 33 minutes, 21 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. You're not winning this game without her.
Scroll through social media after one of those games and it's everywhere. People pointing to clips, slowing them down frame by frame, typing out comments like this wasn't incompetence, this was intentional. Now think about how this looked in real time. Caitlin Clark getting knocked around by defenders, taking hard hits and looking at the refs expecting a whistle. Nothing. Over and over. You could see the frustration building as she walked over to refs, clearly trying to get an explanation, only to be brushed off. That's when you realize this wasn't just about small botched calls. This was about a rising star treated like her complaints didn't matter at all. Each bad call felt like a dagger, the kind of dagger that doesn't come from the other team, but from the supposed neutral party running the game. It's like watching somebody try to write a test with the teacher erasing their answers mid-sentence. No matter how hard the Fever played, the very foundation of the game kept tilting against them. And when you pile on the physical pounding, Clark was already taking on the floor. Her visible anger didn't just look like a rookie throwing a tantrum. It looked like a signal to the world that something was off behind the scenes. Analysts didn't stay quiet either. Broadcast teams took the footage, slowed it down, and started connecting dots. The clock glitch wasn't just a minor error, it changed possession. The phantom timeout didn't just confuse the bench, it swung momentum in a close game. And the final second issue? People were replaying it like it was the Zapruder film of basketball. A tenth of a second magically morphing into more time than what was even possible. When you put all of these together, it didn't look like random accidents anymore. It looked orchestrated, systematic, like the calls weren't falling on one side by coincidence. Then came the explosion everybody remembers. Head coach Stephanie White, usually composed, didn't hold back. She tore into the officials after another bizarre loss, saying flat out they were showing disrespect to her players. She didn't hedge her words, and that made fans feel validated. If the coach was calling out the bias publicly, then maybe the conspiracy theories weren't just internet noise. That post-game eruption poured gasoline on the growing fire, and suddenly everybody was asking the same thing. Was Caitlin Clark specifically being targeted by officials who didn't want her to succeed? And here's the crazy part. The league actually responded, not with the usual "we'll review the tape" line, but with action. Referees were suspended, benched from games, sidelined for their performance. For a lot of fans, this was like confirmation.
Your most athletic player, Michaela Timpson, no minutes in this game at all. I posted online, Chloe Bibby, Michaela Timpson must be in a witness protection program. If we would have lost this game, the story of this game would have been the following, and it's still a story. Chloe Bibby was cleared for this game, no minutes. I about halfway tuned in to watch those two play. Before the game, Caitlin Clark, massive contingent of Fever fans there tonight.
It wasn't all in their heads. Something really was wrong, serious enough that the league itself had to admit it. But that opened up a bigger, scarier question. If referees could be suspended for this, if the league could acknowledge the problem, then what does it say about the future of its stars? Suspensions stop the bleeding, but they don't erase the doubt. The focus shifted fast from what just happened to what happens next, especially for Caitlin Clark. Would she actually get the protection a star demands? Or would these bizarre, game-altering calls creep back in once the spotlight dimmed? And that's the question hanging over every single Fever game now. The suspensions weren't just punishment, they were a message. The league knows its credibility is on the line, and protecting fairness is bigger than protecting referees. Fans watch for the talent, the drama, the stars, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of all that energy. Her return is more than another game. It's the real test. Will the whistles finally protect her, or will the chaos start again? Because here's the truth. If fans stop trusting the game, the WNBA doesn't just risk losing viewers this season, it risks its future every time that trust gets broken.